All right, it is 10:25 and hello everyone. Happy Friday. I'm excited for our 3-day weekend and I'm also excited for today's lesson. We are going to be doing watermelons. This is for the calendar, so if you have time today to send some pictures to me with the student's full name, I would truly appreciate it. So we're going to learn about a new artist to me. He is new. Raffian, Tamayo. And Tamayo is a Mexican artist who I just learned about last week. So I love learning about new artists. And he is known for his watermelons. He paints and sculpts. He also does sculptures of watermelons, which is perfect for today's lesson. So I'm going to show a little bit of his artwork, just so you can get the idea. He is a modernist painter. So it's kind of abstract. He's a modernist. I'm going to go over the materials as well because we kind of have a long list. So we are going to be using oil pastels, okay? We're going to be getting this cool wax relief, and that is done with our oil pastel. And we will need our watercolors at the very end. That is our last step. So we will be needing our watercolors as well. A pencil would be great too for our warm-up. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Tamayo, and I'm going to show some art. The video I'm showing you doesn't have any words. There is some music, so let's pay attention and listen to the beautiful sounds and images in this video. Alright. So, that's all I wanted to share with you. Now we kind of understand who Tamayo was, and we are going to get started with our very own watermelon painting. So get your pencil, put it in the air, and we're going to wave it like we just don't care, because it's Friday, and we're going to get started. I'm going to show you a few examples of what I did earlier this week. So, as you can see, we have watermelons, we have an orange, And we're going to pick different Zentangles. I really enjoy the red on red, but if you want to use black oil pastels, I won't stop you. But I think it would be fun if you did one that has more of the red tones. And we're gonna do a warm up on the back. We are going to need watercolor paper, so I'm going to clear all of this off. And I'm going to grab my watercolor paper. We are going to do a warm up on the back. Make sure to write your name. And I would like the paper in landscape, so not portrait, in landscape. And we're going to write our name. Now our warm-up is just drawing the shape of a watermelon. We're going to draw two shapes. We're going to draw the shape that is straight on, like this. It looks like an arch or a smiley face. And then we're going to draw one at a diagonal as well. So let's start with the first one. I want you to get one finger on the side towards the top, one finger from the bottom, and our dot is going to be right about here. It's one finger from the side and one finger down from the top. Our dot is roughly right about here. I am going to encourage you to draw your lines very soft because we don't want to have to erase when we do it. We want it nice and soft, light hand. And we want this to be about 7 fingers long. So here's 4, and it's longer than that. It's about 7 to 8 fingers in length. It's a pretty long line. As you can see, it's a much longer than 4 fingers. It's closer to 8 or 7 fingers in length. And we're going to take 3 fingers and place that towards the center of that line. And we're going to place a dot towards the center at the bottom, roughly 3 to 4 fingers away from the line. And that is going to guide you to make your arched line. See how soft and light I am sketching? I'm not pressing down very hard at all. We're going to practice the second watermelon, and it is going to be at a diagonal. It is going to be at a diagonal. And our diagonal line might be a little shorter. Maybe this is 4 fingers. I'm going to use 3 fingers and place a dot right about here. It's roughly 2 to 3 fingers. And I'm going to continue that arched line. For this next part, I want you to just watch me. So we're not going to be drawing with Miss C. Your hands are still and you're just using your eyes. I want you to watch what I'm going to do because for the younger students, I didn't do a curved watermelon, but since you guys are the older group of students, I really want to show you how we can show dimension with our curved watermelon. So I'm just going to have you watch me. I'm going to start a dot that is slightly farther away. I'm going to bring this line following the watermelon and then connecting it. So look how this starts far away and then it slowly joins to this dot. As you can see, there is room in between and it is slowly becoming one line. Once you have that, it is at a diagonal, you're going to draw a triangle, and instead of drawing a straight line across for your triangle, you're going to do a curved line, and this curved line is also going to disappear into that line. Now, am I saying this is easy? No, but that's a warm-up. So I want you to see that now we have, you can see more on this side than you can on that side. The key to doing this is a little triangle and then the line that connects. So I'm going to have you go ahead and try. I'm going to draw one more watermelon and we can do it together. So I'm going to draw another watermelon. You don't have to draw this one because we are going to do this together. So get your pencil ready. This is a warm-up. Get your pencil ready. I'm going to start a little far away. I'm not starting right here. I'm moving my pencil. So I'm starting my curved line here. Everyone should have their pencil in their hand. And we are giving this curved line all the way. And then when it reaches past the midpoint, there's the midpoint. Once it passed that, it's going to start curving into that line and becoming one line. You see how now it is connected to this line. It's far away, and now it's touching. Far away, touching. Once you have that, you're going to draw a little bit of a diagonal line, creating a triangle shape. And instead of drawing a straight line, you're going to be curving that line. And then when you reach that midpoint, you're also going to make it disappear into that single line. This is one of the more complicated things we've done. It's okay if when you do our project on the back side that you don't have to do this. But if you want to practice, this is just for practice. Alright, and then I want you to come up with some Zentangles. What I mean, I just dropped all my art. What I mean by that is maybe you want to do checkers, maybe you want to do polka dots or lines. Think of all different Zentangles, and you're going to practice them on your watermelon. So I'm going to give you about a minute, and you're going to come up with some Zentangles that could fit inside your watermelon. You can practice on the side over here. You can come up with some designs in the corner, and you have about 35 seconds to go ahead and practice a Zentangle. And then we're going to flip our paper over and we are going to get started. Alright, you have about 15 more seconds to finish your Zentangles, come up with some ideas. Maybe you want to do a checkered pattern. Alright, let's get ready. We are going to flip our paper over. So if you're not finished with your Zentangle, that is okay. Just kind of have a mental note of what you might want to do inside your watermelon. So let's go ahead and flip our paper over. We are still in landscape, and we have to design our watermelon. We have to fit 3 of them. We're going to have a large one. Look at how large this is. It's about as large as my fist. And then these are roughly 4 fingers. So this one's like a fist size, and these are a little smaller. Here's another example, about fist and smaller. So let's start with the larger watermelon. And it's going to be about 2 fingers and 1 finger. So your dot is roughly going to be about here, 2 and 1, right here. And this line is going to be relatively long, about 7 to 8 fingers, 7 to 8 fingers long. I'm going to encourage you to do very light, very sketchy, very light. We don't want very dark, thick lines. We want very light lines. Get your 3 fingers, place a dot, and we're going to create a very sketchy, soft, curved, arched line. Now, You have a decision to make. You can do the more simple design where you just add another large watermelon, or you can do one of the more complicated ones where we're going to do two smaller watermelons. One is starting in the inside. As you can see, this one is starting in the inside as well. It is overlapping. And if you don't want to have overlapping fruit, then you can just add two of the larger watermelons. I'm going to show you how to do the overlapping fruit just like this. So I'm going to start one finger in the inside right here. I'm going to place a dot. About one finger overlapping in the inside. I'm going to draw a diagonal line, and this line is roughly 4 fingers. I'm going to zoom in. Sorry, I'm kind of far away. There we go. We're going to do the same thing, doing the curved line, arching it, just like we've been doing. And then I'm going to come over here. So this one is overlapping, and this one is not. So I'm going to start a finger from the outside, about a finger from the outside. So this dot is outside, this dot is inside. This watermelon is overlapping, this one is not, but we're still with a diagonal line, roughly 4 fingers. We're going to do another arch. And we are done with our pencil at this point. So once your paper looks like mine, you have 3. Unless you want to do the 2, that's fine too if you want to do the 2 large. But at this point you should have 3 watermelons, and we are going to stop using our pencil, and we are going to start using our oil pastel. Make sure that your lines are very light. I'm actually going to lighten up these dots. And I'm also going to erase this line that is inside the smaller watermelon, because the smaller watermelon is in front. And I need my red oil pastel. So I'm going to pause there so everyone has erased their thicker lines if you have too dark of lines. And maybe you want to erase this overlapping line. And we're going to start with this watermelon, and we are going to outline. Be careful to not, we have to stop and skip, stop and skip. We see how I did not draw the line through that watermelon. This watermelon is in front of the larger watermelon. And now you get to do your Zentangles. You can do your Zentangles in red, or you can use your black oil pastel. So this is what it would look like with black oil pastel, and this is what it would look like with red oil pastel. And you can do a combination. Maybe one has black oil pastel and the others have red. It's up to you and what kind of style you are looking for. I prefer the red, so I'm going to go straight in and do my pattern. We are not coloring in the entire watermelon red. We have to have the white showing through. That is very important. Any Zentangles you want. Don't feel like you have to do what I did. I did make a mistake here. Uh-oh. Let's see if I can fix that. Oh no, I didn't. It's right here. There we go. I like to go over them to make them nice and bold. And then maybe this one I will use black. Maybe I'll do some polka dots. Remember, you don't have to do what I'm doing. You can draw your own Zentangles. The next step we are going to do together, so I'm going to give everyone some time, and we are going to do the next step together. The next step, you are going to use a green. You can use dark green or light green. I prefer the dark green. And we have to create the rind. The rind is that white and green part of the watermelon. And as you can see, I have to make a white line. And with watercolor, we do not have white paint. So what we have to do is draw the negative space. This is called negative space right here. We're not going to be adding any color. We are preserving the white of the page. So to do that, I need you just to watch Miss C. You're going to go ahead and use only your eyes. You're not using your hands. So your green oil pastel should not be in your hand. It should be off to the side. And you're just using your eyes. I am going to start a little far away, maybe about a pinky distance away. The green will not be touching. The green will not be touching the red. There is distance between the white, red, and green, which are the same colors as the Mexican flag, and that is one reason why Tamayo drew watermelons, because he is very proud of his heritage. Make sure you stop and skip, stop and skip. We're doing the same thing right here. Make sure that the green and the red are not touching. There is space in between. So I'm going to give you the A-OK. It is now your turn, and you're going to add your green stripe. I could have done a better job right here of creating the white space, but that's okay. Everyone should be having their green oil pastel in their hands, and everyone should be drawing their rind, the skin of the watermelon. Watermelons do come in different colors. So red is not the only color for watermelon. I've had yellow watermelon. There is pink watermelon. And yellow watermelon is very sweet. I got to have some at the Ventura Fairgrounds. They have a seed festival in October, and they have a watermelon test tasting booth. It was very cool. Alright, we're going to do the same thing we did in our warm-up. If you feel like you are ready to add a little bit of a triangle and curve that line and color it in, you can. If you feel safer without doing the triangle and the curved line, then you do not have to. But think of it as like a little crescent moon shape that you're coloring in. So if you would like to add that dimension, go ahead. But if you would rather leave it the way it was, that is alright as well. Just like we did in the warm-up. Where we added the arched part right here. It kind of looks like a boat. I actually had a student make those into boats last week. It was really creative. Okay. The last thing we need to do is add a little bit of black, and this black is going to overlap and blend. You're going to have to stop and skip, and it's creating a little bit of a shadow, and I think it just looks really nice to add a little bit of shadow to the bottom of our watermelon. And so I'm just adding black, letting it blend, and it also helps separate which watermelon begins and when the other one ends. Just like that. And I let the black overlap with the green. We will be using our watercolors next, so make sure that you're done with your oil pastels. You have your Zentangle, you have the white part of the rind showing, and you have a little bit of black towards the bottom to create a shadow. And we are going to get our paint ready. We will be painting the inside of the watermelons first with water. So we're painting water first inside our watermelons. I'm painting with water first. There should be a nice barrier to stop the water from going outside of your crescent shape. And all you have to do is add a little bit of red. And I like the red to be a little of a pale color, so more water than paint. I like it to be kind of like a pastel color. Very light, not very pigmented. Kind of adds to the cool mixed media. This is called mixed media because we are using oil pastels and paint, using two art mediums. I'm going to wash my brush, and I'm going to add water to my next watermelon. Try your best not to add any water to the white part of the watermelon rind. I'm going to clean my brush and move to the next one. All right. Watermelons are about 92% water. They are very hydrating, and they need a lot of water to grow. They are native to Mexico, and they love tropical weather, and Mexico has a lot of tropical weather. That's why they grow so well there. Since we have a lot of warm tones, I believe a cooler tone for the background would be excellent. Some people like to add a horizon line. Well, I know that Tamayo did not add a horizon line, so I'm not adding a horizon line. But if you would like to add a horizon line, you can. Tamayo just had his fruit floating in space, and that is kind of breaking the rules of art, but that's kind of what modern artists do. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pick a section of your background, and you're going to start adding water first. And then you can pick a cool tone like a blue or a purple, and you're just going to start adding your paint. You can even mix it. You can add purple on top of your blue. I'll say again, I'm not adding a horizon line because Tamayo didn't in his picture. And that's more of like a modernist kind of decision. I'm just picking sections to add water, and then I'm going to come back and add some paint. If you notice that your paper is bending or warping, you can always put your finger down and hold it while you start painting. Try to preserve the white part of the watermelon. These watermelons have been coming out super amazing. I've been very impressed. If you have a little bit of the blue bleeding into the red, that means that I used too much water, which I kind of did. So if you do not want this to happen, just use a little less water. But that's kind of the fun thing about watercolors. Maybe in the video you saw that his artwork, one of the cheapest pieces of his artwork was $3,000. Or no, $3 million, I'm sorry. One of his cheapest paintings was $3 million. And that is a lot of money. He was very successful selling his artwork as an artist. Unfortunately, a lot of his pieces did gain more value after he passed away in the 1990s. But even during his lifetime in the 70s, he sold the painting we are doing today to Audrey Hepburn for close to $5 million, or maybe it was $7 million. So yes, one day you might sell a painting for that much. It could happen. He did live in New York for a time, even though he is from Mexico, and often a lot of his artwork represents Mexico, just like the colors of the watermelon are the same as the flag of Mexico. He would also sprinkle in folklore and fairy tales from Mexico, so he would depict the sun and moon and dogs, which are often subjects or characters in the folklore of Mexico. He had different periods in his time, just like we were talking about having Picasso's blue period. He had a period where he would draw watermelons. He would also paint dogs. He has a whole series of dog paintings, which we saw some towards the beginning of our lesson in that montage. But Tamayo is a really cool artist, someone new I learned about. I love learning about new people. So this is a fun lesson for me. I hope you guys are having fun too. This painting looks the best if you mat it on some black paper. Let me see if I have any. It really makes the whole composition pop when you put it on some black paper.